Guys, this is Hakim. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to show you guys how to build this food app UI using React Native, so stay tuned. So this is what I'm going to build in this video. Let me walk you guys through the app. So over here we have the onboard screen, we have an image right here, and below the image we have a text of delicious food. Below the text we have another text over here, and right here we have the slider indicator. Note this indicator is actually static. We are not implementing any sort of slider, so that's why I are leaving it static. So below the indicator we have a get started button, and once I click on it, it's going to take us to a home screen with a button tab navigator. Over here we have a test of hello Aries, a test of what do you want to eat, and a profile image right here. Below it we have a search input, and also we have a sort button right here, and below it we have the list of categories. And once I click on it, it's going to select the category, which has no effect on this card. Below the category we have a card, the food image, food name, ingredient, price, and a add to cart button. And once I click on the card, it's going to take us to the details screen with the image of the food, the name of the food, details of the food, a favorite icon, and add to cart button. And once I click on this back arrow button, it's going to take us back to the home screen. And once I click on this cart icon, it's going to take us to a new tab, a list of food in the cart, a text of total price, the total price, and a checkout button. So this is what I'm going to build in this video. I'll be making the project file available for you guys to download. I'll put in the link in the description down below. So if you like this kind of video, please like and share. And also if not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, turn on post notifications to notify time I upload a new video. And that's what I do. Let's start coding. Okay guys, so welcome back. So I already created a project and also I've structured the project. So let me walk you guys through the structure of the project. So over here I created a folder called SRC. Inside the folder I created a folder called asset. So this folder is to hold the asset of the project, that is the image of the project. And over here I created a folder called categories, which is going to hold the image of the categories. Right here I created a folder called const, and I created a file called categories. So inside this file is a list of categories. It's just an array of objects. So each object contains the ID of category, name of the category, and the image of the category. And I exported the categories over here. So I created another file called colors.js, and this is just the colors of the app: the white color, dark color, primary color, secondary color, light color, and the gray color. Then I exported the object over here. So right here I created a file called foods.js. So this is just a file that holds the list of the food. This is just an array with object of each food. So each object contains an ID, name of food, ingredient, price, and image of food. So I created another folder called views. So inside the views folder we have a folder called components. So this is just for the component, for the external component. I created a folder called navigation. So this folder is holding the button navigator. So we have a button navigator in the app. And also I created a folder called screen. So this is just the folder that is holding the screen of the app, the card screen, details screen, home screen, and onboard screen. So inside the app.js I added the navigation container, and over here I added the status bar component. This is just for the status bar, and also I changed the background color to white, and also the bar style content to dark, so that the items in the status bar will be able to show up. So I added the onboard screen. So this is just the first screen. Over here I added the home screen. So this home screen is the button navigator. So the button navigator is the component that is going to hold all the tabs. Then below it I added the details screen. So that's all for the story of the project. Let me run the app. Okay guys, so I just run the app, and right now we have a blank screen with the text of onboard. So this is the onboard screen. So I'm going to first start working on the onboard screen. So right now I'm going to open the onboard screen file and I'll start working on it. So this is the text that is showing up right here. I'm going to get rid of the text. I'll start working on it right now. So before we start working on the onboard screen, let's take a look at the UI. So right here we have an image. This image is going to be inside a view. So we are going to add a view. But before we add the view, we are going to style the safe area view. So add a style. Inside this style, we are going to give it a flex of 1. This is just for the view to take the available space. So we'll give it a background color of white. It's a background color. I'll get it from the colors object. So white. And that's all for the style for the safe area view. So inside the safe area view, we are going to add a view for the image. So say view. We are going to add a style to the view. So this style. We'll give the height of 400 pixels. And right now we are going to add the image. So add the image component. We are going to add a style. Before we add a style, let's add the source to the component. So say source, and we are going to require the image. So this image is going to be from the asset folder, and it's going to be on board image. So say on board.png, and this is the image over here. This image right here. Right here we are going to give it a width of 100%. So we want to take the full width of the screen. Then we'll give it a resize mode of contain. So say resize mode, we give contain. So right now we have the image, but we have the image at the center of the screen. So we want the image to be at the top of the screen. So to do that, we are going to add top of -150 pixels. So this is going to push the image inside the screen. That's all for the image. The next step, we are going to add this delicious food text to it. So to add the text, we are going to add a view. So this view is going to hold the both text, delicious food text, and this text below. So I'm going to open the project, and over here we are going to add a view. So below the view of the image, we add a view, and we are going to add a text component. So add the text, which is delicious food, and we are going to style the text. So we'll give it a style. We'll give it a font size of 32 pixels, a font weight of bold, a text alignment of center. So I want to center the text. And that's all for this text. So right now we are going to add the other text. So I'm going to add the text component, and I'm going to get the text right now. I'm going to paste the text right here, and we are going to style the text component. So we'll give it a style. We'll give it a margin top of 20 pixels. So say margin top 20 pixels, a font size of 18 pixels, text alignment of center also. So want to center the text, and a color of gray. So say color, and get it from the colors object. Say colors.gray. And I think that's all for this text. So let's take a look at the UI. So over here we have some padding between the text. So we are going to wrap this view inside the container, and we are going to give it a style of text container. So over here I'm going to add a view. We should have added that earlier. So I'm going to get this view over here, and I'll paste it right here. Then we are going to add a style, and we'll say style.text container. So we are going to create a style right now. So over here I'm going to create the style. I'll say const style is equals to style sheet. So we're going to import the style sheet, and say dot create, and we'll add the style. So for the text container, we are going to give it a flex of 1. I'll say flex 1. We'll give it a padding horizontal of 50 pixels. So say padding horizontal 50 pixels. We justify content of space between, and a padding bottom of 40 pixels. So say padding bottom, and give 40 pixels. So right now we have the padding, and that's all for the text container. So the next step, we are going to add the indicators to the screen. So this is the indicator we are going to add right now. These indicators over here. So for the indicator, we are going to add a view. So this view is going to hold the 3 indicators. So add a view. Then all these indicators are going to be a view. So I'm going to open the project, and over here I'm going to add the view. So add the view, and I'm going to give it a style also. So say style. We'll call it indicator container. So say indicator container. And right now I'm going to add a style. So I'm going to copy the style. Then over here we'll add the style. So give the height of 50 pixels, a flex of 1, a justify content of center, a flex direction of row. So want to position the indicator from left to right. So say flex direction row, not flex direction, and we'll give it a align items of center. So say align items, give it center. And that's all for the indicator container. So right now we are going to add the indicators. So over here we are going to add a view, and we are going to add three indicators, which two are of same style and one is different style. So the first indicator is going to have a different style, while these two indicators are going to share similar styles. So let's add the first indicator, that is the one with its own style. So add a style, say dot current indicator. So we are going to give it a name of current indicator. And right now I'm going to add a style. So for the current indicator, we are going to give it a height of 12 pixels. So say height 12 pixels, a width of 30 pixels, a border radius of 10 pixels. Then we are going to add a background color to it. So say background color of colors.primary and a margin horizontal of 5 pixels. So say margin horizontal 5 pixels. I'll hit save and see. So right now we have the first indicator. Let's add the two indicators. I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to change this style to just indicator. So I'll get rid of this current. I'll change it to indicator. So we are going to add the style for the indicator right now. Over here I'm going to add the style. And for this indicator, we'll give it a height of 12 pixels also, a width of 12 pixels. Then we'll give it a border radius of 6 pixels. We want a round shape, so say border radius, we'll give it 6 pixels. We'll give it a background color of gray. We'll get the color from the colors object, we'll say dot gray, and we'll give it a margin horizontal of 5 pixels. Margin horizontal of 5 pixels. And that's all for the indicator. So right now we have the indicators. So the next step, we are going to add this get started button. So to add the button, we are going to create another component for the button, since we'll be making use of this button in different screens of the app. So making use of this same button in the onboard screen, we'll make use of the button in the detail screen and the card screen. So I'm going to create a standalone component for the button. So I'm going to open the folder, and over here inside the component, I'm going to create a file called buttons.js. So say buttons.js. So this is going to be for the button component. So inside the button.js, we are going to import React. Then we are going to create the component right now. So say const. We create a component called primary button. Say primary button. And this component is going to take in some props. So we want to take in the title of the button. So we are going to pass in a title, and also we are going to pass in unpressed function that is optional. So say title, and also we'll pass in the unpressed function. So this unpressed function is actually optional, so we are going to set it to anonymous function. So in case if we don't pass in an unpressed function, we won't run into any errors. So we'll set it to a function. So over here, we're going to return a touchable opacity component. And before we continue styling the button, I'm going to export the button right now. So I'm going to export it. So I'll be exporting the button using the default keyword, because we are going to export multiple buttons. So we'll be creating another button called secondary button later on. I'll say primary button, and I'm going to export it. So inside the onboard screen right here, we are going to import the button. So below this view that is holding the indicator container, we are going to add the button. So say primary button. We'll import it right here. And we are going to pass in the title. So the title is going to be get started. And we'll pass in a function, which is going to be an unpressed function. And it's going to navigate to the home screen. So we are going to make use of the navigation. I'll say navigate, and we are going to pass in the home screen. So once a user click on the button, it's going to take us to the home screen. So right now we are going to start working on the button. So for the touchable opacity component, we are going to add the active opacity to 0.8. So we're going to increase the active opacity. And also we are going to add the unpressed to it, which is going to be this unpressed function over here gotten from the props. So just pass it right here. Inside the touchable opacity component, we are going to add a view. So add a view. So we are going to add a style, and we're going to call the style btn container. So say btn container, and over here we are going to create a style. So create a style, say style goes to style sheet. So import the style dot create. So inside the style sheet we are going to add the btn container style. So say btn, and right now I'm going to start styling it. So we'll give it a background color of colors dot primary, and we are going to give it a height of 60 pixels. So say height 60 pixels. We give it a border radius of 30 pixels. A justified content of center, so I want to center the text, and also an align items of center. So right now we have the button showing up. The next step, we are going to add the text in the button. So to add the text, we are going to add the text component. So right here, we'll add the text component, and inside the component, we are going to add a title. So this is the title passed from the props. So add the title, and also right now I'm going to style the text component. So for it, we are going to give it a style of title, and over here we are going to create a style. So say title. We're going to give it a color of white. So say colors dot white. We give it a font weight of bold and a font size of 18 pixels. So actually we have to import the text component. So I'm going to import it right now, and the error should go away right now. So I think that's all for the onboard screen. So let's take a look at the UI. So right now I'm going to start working on the home screen. But before we work on the home screen, we have to set up the bottom tab navigator. So actually we are making use of the React navigation library for the navigation, and also we are making use of the vector icon library for the icons. I should have mentioned that earlier. So I'm going to open the navigation folder, and inside the folder we are going to open the bottom navigation. So over here we are going to add the screens for the bottom navigation. So we are going to add the screens. So inside the tab.navigator, we are going to add the screens right now. And to add the screens, we'll make use of the tab object. So say tab.screens, which is going to take a name. So the first screen we want is the home screen. So give it a name of home screen. Then we'll add the component, which is the home screen component. So we import the home screen component. And also we are going to add an option to the tab. So say option, and we are going to add a tab icon. So say tab icon. So this tab icon takes in a function. Then we are going to bring in the props of color, because we are going to make use of the color. So say color, and over here we are going to return the icon. So I'm going to get the icon from the vector icon, and the icon we are going to make use of for the home screen is the home icon. So I'll give it a name of home dash field. So let's save and see. So right now we should be able to navigate to the home page. So right now if I click on the button right here, it's going to take us to the bottom navigator. So if I click on it, right now I'm in the bottom navigator. So the next step, we are going to style these tabs over here. That is the tab icon. So inside the bottom navigator, so we are going to change the icon color. So we'll say color, and we'll give it the color we get from this prop. And also we are going to give it a size of 28 pixels. So we'll say size and give it 28. So right now we have the icon. So the next step, we're going to style the tab navigator itself. So we are going to change some style in it. So over here, we're going to add the tab option. So it's a tab option. Then we'll add the style props. So over here, we're going to give it a height of 55 pixels. So we are working on the tab navigator right here. We'll give it a border top width of 0 pixels. So we want to get rid of this border over here. So say border top width. I'll give it 0 pixels. So this is going to get rid of the border over here. And also we are going to give an elevation of 0. So we'll get rid of the shadow also. So right now we no longer have any shadow. So the next step, we're going to get rid of this label. So to get rid of the label, we'll say show label, and we'll set it to false. Then also we add the active tint color. So we want to change this color to the primary color once the tab is active. So say active tint color. I'll set it to colors.primary. Alright, and that's all for this style for the tab navigator. So the next step, I'm going to duplicate these screens and I'm going to change this to its corresponding tabs. So I'm going to duplicate this 4 times, I think. So I'm going to change them to the corresponding tab and icon. For the next screen, I'm going to change the name to local mall. So since we are not going to work on the on this screen, I'm just going to leave the home screen component. Then for the icon, I'll change it to local-mall. So say local-mall. We are going to skip the third tab because we are going to add a custom style to it. And over here, I'm going to duplicate this. Then for the fourth tab, I want to give it a name of favorite. And for the icon also, we are going to give it a name of favorite. And we are going to leave the component as home screen. Then for the last tab, we are going to give it a name of cart. And we are going to import the cart screen. So say cart screen. So let's import the cart screen over here. So for the third screen, we'll change the name to search. And right now we should be able to navigate to the home screen. Okay guys, so right now we have the tabs. So the next step, we're going to add the custom style to the middle tabs over here. So that is this custom search button. So to do that, inside the tab of search, we are going to add a view. Over here we'll add a view. Then I'm going to take this icon and put inside the view. So right now I'm going to start styling the view. So I'm going to add a style. We'll give it a height of 60 pixels, a width of 60 pixels. Then we are going to give it a justify content of center. So I want to center it and align items of center. Then we are going to give the background color of white. So say background color. Say colors.white. Then we'll give it a border color of primary. So say border color. Say colors.primary. And also we are going to add a border width to it. So say border width. And give it a border width of 2 pixels. So right now we have the button with the border. So the next step, we are going to give it a border radius of 30 pixels so that we're able to have the round shape. So say border radius and give it 30 pixels. Then also we are going to change the icon over here. So we are going to change this icon to search. Then for the icon, we are going to give the color of primary. So say colors.primary. Then right now we are going to position the view to the top. So over here we'll add a top and give it a minus 20 pixels. So this is going to position it to the top. Then also we are going to add an elevation to it. So say elevation and give it 5. So I think that's all for the search tab button. So right now we are going to work on the home page. But before we do that, we are going to change this icon to a cat icon. So we forgot to change the icon. So over here, we'll change it to a cat icon. So say shopping cart dash cat. Alright, now we have the cat icon. So right now we are going to start working on the home page. So let me bring up the UI. So for the home page, we have a text here, and also we have this text, and we have this profile image. So this is going to be in a view with a style of header. Inside the home page, I'm going to get rid of the text, and also I'm going to start styling the save area view. So add a style. We'll give it a flex of 1. Then we are going to give it a background color of white. So say background colors, we'll get color from the colors object and we'll say white. That's all for the save area view. So right now I'm going to add the view for the header. So say view. Then we'll give it a style of header. So say style dot header. So over here we are going to create a style. Then we are going to add the header style. For the header style, we are going to give the margin top of 20 pixels. So say margin top, we'll give 20 pixels. We give the flex direction of row, a justify content of space between, and a padding horizontal of 20 pixels. And that's all for the header style. So the next step, we are going to add the text. So for this text, we are going to add a view which is going to hold the both text. And inside the view, we are going to add another for the hello and arrays text. So this hello and arrays are going to be a separate text component. Then below it, we are going to add this text component for this text. So over here, we are going to add the view. Then inside the view, we are going to add another view. So this view is going to be for the hello and arrays text. So we'll add the text component. But before I add the text, so I want to add a style to this view. Then we'll give it a flex direction of row. So inside the text component, we are going to add a text of hello. Then we are going to style it. So over here, we are going to add a style. We'll give it a font size of 28 pixels. And that's all for the style. So right now I'm going to duplicate this text and I'm going to change this to arrays. So I'll change this to arrays. And over here, I'm going to add some style to it. So I'll give it a font weight of bold. And I'm going to give it a margin left of 10 pixels. So I want a space between the hello and arrays text. And I'll hit save. And right now we have the text. So the next step, I'm going to add the text of what do you want today. So over here, I'm going to add a text component that is outside the view that is holding this bold text. We'll add a text component. And inside the text component, I'm just going to get the text and I'm going to paste it over here. Then we are going to style the text right now. For the text, we're going to give it a style. We'll give it a margin top of 5 pixels, a font size of 22 pixels. So say font size 22 pixels. We'll give it a color of gray. So say colors.gray. And that's all for the text component. So right now we are going to add the image component. That is the image for the profile image. So over here, we are going to add an image component and we are going to add the source. So the source is going to be from the asset folder. So say require, and the image is the person.png. So say person.png. And right now we are going to style the image. So we are going to add a style. We'll give the height of 50 pixels, a width of 50 pixels also. Then we'll give it a border radius of 25 pixels. Border radius of 25 pixels. And right now we have the profile image. The next step, we're going to add this search input and also this sort button. To add the search input, we're going to add the view. So the view is going to hold a view, which is going to hold this search icon and the text input. Then outside the view, we are going to add a view, which is going to hold this icon. So over here, we'll add a view. So outside the header view, we'll add a view. And we are going to style the view. So we'll give it a style. We'll give it a margin top of 40 pixels, a flex direction of row. Then we are going to give it a padding horizontal of 20 pixels. And that's all for this view. So right now, we're going to add the view that is going to hold the icon and the search input. So over here, we add a view and we are going to style the view. So give the style of input container. So say style dot input container. And right now, we are going to create a style. So for the input container, we are going to give it a flex of 1, a height of 50 pixels, a border radius of 10 pixels. So say border radius. Then we are going to give it a flex direction of row and a background color of light. So say background color, say colors.light, and we are going to give it an align items of center and a padding horizontal of 20 pixels. So say align items, center, padding horizontal of 20 pixels. And that's all for this style. So right now I'm going to add the items inside the view. So I'm going to add the icon. And let's make sure we import the icon correctly. So the icon is imported correctly. I'm going to give the icon a name of search. So I want the search icon. Then over here we are going to import the text input. So we import the text input and we are going to style the icon. So we are going to give it a size of 28 pixels. And right now we have the icon. So the next step, we're going to style the text input. So give this text input a style of flex of 1 and a font size of 18 pixels. Font size 18 pixels, and we are going to get a placeholder of search for food. So add a placeholder. I'll say search for food. So that's all for the search input. So the next step, we are going to add the sort button. So outside the input container, we are going to add a view. I'll give it a style of sort button. So say style dot sort btn. Then inside the view, we are going to add the icon. So say icon. We'll give it a name of tone. We'll give it a size of 28 pixels, and we are going to give it a color of white. Say colors dot white. And right now I'm going to style the sort button. So for the sort button, we are going to give it a width of 50 pixels. So say width 50 pixels. We give it a height of 50 pixels also. A margin left of 10 pixels. Then we are going to give it a background color of primary. So say colors dot primary. And we are going to give it a border radius of 10 pixels. So say border radius 10 pixels. Then a justify content of center and align items of center. This to center the icon. So that's all for the input and the sort button. So right now I'm going to add the list of the categories. So for the list of categories, we're going to create another component for the categories. Over here, we'll create a component called list categories. But before we do that, we're going to add a state. So we're able to track the current category selected. So say const, we'll add a state. We'll say selected category index. And we'll add a set selected category index to set the categories. Over here, we'll set it to a state. So say react.useState. So use the useState hook. And for the default index, we'll give 0. So right now, I want to add a list categories component. So say const list categories. Inside the function, we are going to return a scroll view. This is going to be inside a scroll view. So we want the list to be able to scroll. And over here, we are going to map the current list, and we are going to style this list button over here. So right here, we'll add the scroll view. So we are going to change the scroll direction to horizontal, and also we'll give it show horizontal scroll indicator. We'll set it to false. So I want to get rid of the scroll bar. Then now we are going to add a style to the scroll view. So we'll say content container style, and we are going to give it a style of category list container. So style. So right here we add the style, and for the style we add a padding vertical of 30 pixels. So say padding vertical, we give it 30 pixels. We give it align items of center, align item center, and a padding horizontal of 20 pixels. So say padding horizontal, we'll give it 20 pixels. And that's all for the style. So right now we're going to add the categories. To add the categories, we're going to iterate through the list of categories, which is this category over here. So inside the const folder, this file holding the list of categories. So over here we'll say categories dot map. So let's import the categories. We'll say import categories, import it from const folder, and we import the categories. So right now we'll be able to use the categories. So inside here we add a function. We'll bring the category and the index. Then over here we are going to add a touchable opacity. So touchable opacity. For the touchable opacity, we are going to add a key props so that React won't yell at us, and give the index. And here we are going to add active opacity. So it's active opacity, we'll give it 0.8. So inside the touchable opacity component, we are going to add the view component right here. And for the view, we are going to add a style. So we'll give it a style. and we are going to give it a style of category btn. So actually we are going to spread this style because we are going to apply other style to it. So say category btn. So right now I'm going to create the category btn style. For the category btn, we are going to add a height of 45 pixels. So say height with 45 pixels. We get a width of 120 pixels. A margin right of 7 pixels. So say margin right, get 7 pixels. We give the border radius of 30 pixels. Border radius 30 pixels. Align items of center. A padding of horizontal of 5 pixels. And a flex direction of row. Flex direction, we'll give it row. So that's all for the style right now. So the reason it's not actually showing up right now is because we have not added any background color. But for the background color, we are going to add it depending if the category is selected. So we are going to add 2 background colors. So we are going to change the colors depending if its category is selected or not. So if the category is selected, we are going to add the primary color. Else, if it's not selected, we are going to apply the secondary color. So in order to know if it's selected, we'll make sure that the index is close to the selected index over here. So to do that, over here, we'll add the background property. And right here, we're going to add the condition. So say if selected category index is close to the current index, which means it's selected, we'll add the primary color. Else, we'll add the secondary color. So say colors.secondary. So right now if I hit save, it should show up. So actually it's not showing up because we've not added the component. So over here we are going to add the component. So I'll add the component right here. That is a list categories component. And right now it will show up. So right now we have the list of categories. So actually this is centered in the screen because the list of categories is actually not in a view. So it's a scroll view component. So if we wrap this in a view, it's going to get this fixed. So I'm going to bring this and I'll put it inside this view right here, and this should fix it. Okay, and right now we have the categories positioned correctly. So the next step, we are going to start adding the name of category and the image of the category. So inside the view, we are going to add another view for the image. So add a view. This view, we are going to give it a style of category btn image con for container. So say style, and we'll give it a style of category btn image con. And right now I'm going to style the view. So this view is actually this white round shape over here that the image is tagged on top. So over here I'm going to add this style and I'll start styling the view. So for this style, we give it a height of 35 pixels, a width of 35 pixels also. We give it a background color of white. Then we give it a border radius of 30 pixels. So this is the view right here. So the next step, we're going to center the element, that is the image. So we're going to give it a justify content of center and align items of center. So that's all for this style. So right now we're going to add the image, that is the category image. So inside the view, we are going to add the image component. So say image. Then over here, we're going to give it a source. So the source, we are going to get it from the category. So that is the category right here. Then we'll say dot image. And let's see. So this is the image right now. So we are going to style the image. So we'll add a style. We give it a height of 35 pixels. A width of 35 pixels also. And we give it a resize mode of cover. So say resize mode. We give it cover. So right now we have the image. So the next step, we are going to add the name of the category. So outside the view that is holding the image, you add a text component. So inside the text component, you are going to add the name. So say category dot name. So right now we have the name. So the next step, we are going to style the category. So we are going to give it a font size of 15 pixels, a font weight of bold. We'll give it a margin left of 10 pixels, And for the color, we are going to change the color to white if the category is selected, else we change it to the primary color if it's not selected. So over here we add the color property. So say color, and we say selected category index is equals to index. So if the category is selected, we'll apply the white color. So say colors.white. Else we'll apply the primary color. So say colors.primary. So right now we have the name with different colors applied to the category if it's selected or not. So the next step, we're going to set the selected category index to the current index, which is going to select the category. So to do that, inside the unpressed props, we are going to call this set selected category index, and we are going to pass in an index which is going to select the category. So over here we'll add the unpressed prop, and inside the props we are going to add a function which is going to call the set selected category index function. And over here we are going to pass the correct index. So right now, once I click on the category, it's going to select it. So that's all for the category list. The next step, we are going to add the card to the screen. So to add the card, you are going to create a component for the card. So over here I'm going to create a component called card. So I'll say card. And before we start working on the component, we are going to add a flat list component to list the card. So over here, I'll add a component, the flat list, and we're going to add some props to the flat list. So we are going to get rid of the scroll bar. So to do that, we'll say show vertical scroll indicator, we'll set it to false. Then we'll give it a num columns of 2. So once 2 cards in each row, so say num columns, we'll set it to 2. And we'll give it a data of food. So say foods. So we are going to import the food. That is the this food file over here. So right here we are going to import the food. I'm going to duplicate this category, change this to foods, and over here I'll change it to foods. So for the render item, we are going to give it the card component. So bring in the item, and we are going to call the card component, and we are going to pass in a props of food, which is going to be the item. So right now we'll start working on the card. So inside the card, we are going to return a view. So add a view component, and inside the view component, we are going to give it a style of card. So say style.card. And right now we are going to create a style. For the card style, we are going to give it a height of 220 pixels. So say height 220 pixels. We give it a width of card width, which we are going to create right now. So say card width. And for the card width, it's going to be the screen width. So we'll take the screen width, we'll divide it by 2, and we'll subtract 30 pixels from the screen. So basically, you are going to give each card half of the screen. Then for the 30 pixels, we want some space between the card. So to add the card width, we are going to get the screen width. And to get the screen width, we'll say const. We are going to pull out the screen width from the dimension. So say dimension. So import the dimension and use the method get. I want to get the screen. Then right here, we're going to create the card width. So for the card width, let's create the variable first. It's going to be the width divided by 2. Then we'll subtract from 20, not 30. So right now we have the card width. Actually, we forgot to return this view. So let's return the view. So we are going to start styling the card. We'll give the card a margin horizontal of 10 pixels. So say margin horizontal 10 pixels. We'll give the margin bottom of 20 pixels. A margin top of 50 pixels. So say margin top 50 pixels. Let's save. So right now we have the card, but actually it's not showing up because we don't have any element inside the card. Let's add a border radius, elevation, and background color. So right now we'll add a border radius. We'll say border radius. We'll give it 15 pixels and elevation. So we want some shadow. Give 13 pixels and we'll give it a background color of white. So say colors.white. So right now this is the card. So the next step, we'll start adding the element inside the card. So we are going to add this food image, the name, the ingredient, price, and this add to cart button. So we are going to go to the cart component, and inside this view we are going to start adding the elements. So right now I'm going to add the image. To add the image, we are going to add a view. So add a view, and we are going to style the view. So for the view, we are going to give it an align items of center. And right now we are going to add the image to the view. So actually, let's bring in the props. So bring in the food props. So say food. And inside the view, we'll add the image component. Then for the image component, we are going to add the source. So add the source, which is going to be the food.image. Right now, let's take a look at the app. So right now, I want to style the image of the food. So add a style right here. And for the style, we are going to give it a height of 120 pixels. We give it a width of 120 pixels also. And that's all for the image style. The next step, I'm going to position this image food to the top. And to do that, over here at the view that is holding the image component, we are going to add the top property. Then we are going to give it -40. So this is going to move the food image to the top. So right now we have the food image at the top. The next step, we're going to add the food name. So for the food name, we're going to add the name and the ingredient inside a view. So right here, we'll add a view, and we are going to style the view. So we'll give the view a margin horizontal of 20 pixels. So add a style, margin horizontal, we'll give it 20 pixels. And right now, we're going to add the food name and the ingredient. We'll add a text component, then we'll add the food name. So to add the food name, we'll say food, we get the food object, then we get the name. So right now we have the food name. So the next step, we're going to style the text component. So we're going to give it a font size of 18 pixels. The font size 18 pixels. I'll give the font weight of bold. So we are done with the food name. Right now I'm going to duplicate this, and I'll change this to ingredients. So change this to the food ingredients, and also we are going to style the text. So we're going to change this to 14 pixels. We'll change the color to gray. So say color, I'll say colors.gray. Then we are going to give the margin top of 2 pixels. So say margin top, we give 2 pixels. And that's all for the food name and the food ingredient. So let's take a look at the UI. So right now we are going to add the price and the add to cart button. So to do that, we are going to add a view. So this view is going to hold the price and add to cart button. Over here below the view that is holding the bold text, we'll add another view. And inside the view, we are going to style the view. So we'll style the view before we start adding the text. So add a style. We'll give the margin top of 10 pixels, a margin horizontal of 20 pixels. Then we'll give it a flex direction of row, and we'll give it a justify content or space between. So justify content, space between. So that's all for the view right now. So next step, we're going to add the price. Over here, we'll add the text component. And for the text component, we'll add a $sign. Then we'll add the price. So to add the price, we'll get the food object and we'll add the price. Say dot price. And over here, we're going to style the text component. So to style it, we'll give it a font size of 18 pixels. Font size. A font weight of bold. And that's all for this style. So the next step, we are going to add the add to cart button. For the add to cart button, we are going to add the view. So this view is going to hold the icon. So for this view, I'm going to give it a style of add to cart. So say style dot add to cart btn. So right now I'm going to create this style. For the add to cart btn style, we give it a height of 30 pixels, a width of 30 pixels also, a border radius of 20 pixels. We'll give it a background color of primary. So say colors dot primary. Just give it a justify content of center and align items of center. So we want to center the icon. Align items center. And that's all for this style. So right now we have the add to cart button, which is just a view. So the next step, we're going to add the icon to the view. over here inside the view, we'll add the icon component. We'll give it the name of add. Then we're going to give it a size of 20 pixels. Then we'll give it a color of white. So say colors.white. And that's all for the card over here. So right now I want to be able to navigate to the details screen. So this screen once a user click on the card. So to do this, we are going to add a touchable highlight, and we'll add a props. Then we'll use navigation to navigate to the details screen. Actually, we are making use of touchable highlight instead of touchable opacity because we want to be able to set the underlay color by ourselves, which the touchable opacity does not have. So over here, we are going to wrap the card with a touchable opacity highlight. So I'm just going to add a touchable opacity highlight over here. So touchable, and I'm going to get this card view. I'll cut it, then I'm going to paste it right here. Then for the touchable highlight, we are going to add the underlay color. We'll set it to white. So the reason we are adding this underlay color is because of the elevation. So if you are to use the touchable opacity component, the color of the underlay is going to affect the card shadow. So it's going to give us some weird effect. That's why I make use of the touchable highlight. So we are going to change the underlay color to white. Then the active opacity is going to be 0.9, and we are going to add the unpressed props to it. So we'll say unpressed, we'll add a function, then we'll add the navigation. So we'll say navigation, and let's bring in the navigation. So over here, I'm going to bring in the navigation. So say navigation dot navigate, and we want to be able to navigate to the details screen. So I'm going to open the app.js and I'm going to get the name. So this is the details screen right here. I'm going to paste it over here. And while we are navigating, we are going to pass the full details to the details screen. So to do that, over here we are going to add the food object. So right now we're able to get the full details from the details screen. And right now let's see if we're able to navigate to the details screen. So right now we're in the details screen. So I think that's all for the home screen. So the next step, we'll start working on this details screen over here. So let me close some file. I'm going to close the onboard screen and also the button screen and the bottom navigator component. So right now I'm going to open the details screen and start working on the details screen. So for the details screen, let me bring up the UI. We're going to have a view which is going to hold this icon and this text over here. So we are going to give it a style of header. So I'm going to style the save area component. We'll give it a background color of white. Say colors.white, and that's all for the style. So the next step, we're going to add a header. So add a view, and we're going to give it a style of header. So say style, give it a style dot header, and right now we're going to create a style. So let me bring up the emulator and navigate to the details screen. So right here we'll create a style. So we'll say const style goes to style sheet dot create. I'm going to add a header style right now. So for the header style, we're going to add a padding and vertical of 20 pixels, a flex direction of row. Let me navigate to the details screen. So over here we'll give it align items of center. Then we'll give it a margin horizontal of 20 pixels. So inside the view, we are going to add the items. So over here, we'll add the icon. We'll give the icon a name of arrow back dash iOS. So say name. We'll say arrow dash back iOS. We'll give it a style, a size of 28 pixels. Say 28 pixels. And also we are going to add unpressed to it, so we'll be able to navigate back to the home screen. So say unpressed. But before we do that, we are going to bring in the navigation and route. So bring in the navigation. This is going to allow us to navigate back to the home screen. Then we'll bring in the route. So with this route, we'll be able to get the full details. And to do that, over here I'm going to add a variable called item. So this is going to hold the full details passed from the home screen. So over here, to get the food details, we'll say route.params. So I'm going to add the navigation right here. So say navigation dot go back, and this is going to take us back to the screen. So right now I'm going to console log the item so that you guys can see. So I'll say console.log, and I'll console log the item. So as you can see, we have the full details right here. So I'll get rid of the console log. I'll start styling the page. So the next step, we're going to add a text component, and I'll add a text of details. So add a text component, and we're going to import it. Make sure we import the component. Then we'll add a text of details. So say details. And right now I'm going to start styling the text. So we are going to give it a font size of 20 pixels. So say font size, give 20 pixels, and a font weight of bold. And that's all for the text component. So right now, if I click on this, it's going to take us back to the home screen. So right now, I'm going to start adding the items to the page. So I'm going to add the image, and we're going to add a view for this section over here. We add the name of the food, this favorite icon, the description of food, and the add to cart button. So to do that, we're going to add a scroll view. So why we are adding a scroll view is for smaller screens, so in case the element in the screen overflows. So right here, I'm going to add a scroll view, and we're going to get rid of the scroll bar. I'll set it to false. Then inside the scroll view, we are going to add a view for the image. Then we are going to style the view. So add a style. We'll give the view a justify content of center, align items of center, a height of 280 pixels. So say height 280 pixels. And right now we are going to add the image itself. So over here we are going to add the image. We'll add the image component. Then we'll add the source. The source is going to be the item dot image. Then we are going to give it a height of 220 pixels and a width of 220 pixels. So say height 220 and give it a width of 220 also. So right now we have the image. The next step, I'm going to add this section over here. That is this details section. To do that, below the image, this view that is holding the image, we are going to add a view with the style of details. So add a view over here. I'll give it a style of details. So say style dot details. And right now we are going to add the style. So right here we add this style. So we are going to give it a padding horizontal of 20 pixels. So say padding horizontal, we give 20 pixels. A padding top of 40 pixels. Then a padding bottom of 60 pixels. So the padding bottom, give 60 pixels. We'll give it a background color of primary. So say colors.primary. So this is the details section right now. So the reason it's not taking the full width right now is because we've not added any elements to the view. So once we add other elements, it's going to take the remaining space. So right now we're going to add the border radius to the top of the details view. So say border top right radius. We'll give 40 pixels. Then I'm going to duplicate this and I'll change this to left. So change this to left. Hit save, and right now we have the curve shape. The next step, we're going to add the name of the food and this icon over here. So to do that, we're going to add a view which is going to hold the name and this icon. So right here inside the details view, we'll add a view, and we're going to style the view. So we'll give it a style. We'll give it a flex direction of row, justify content of space between, then an align items of center. Align items, we'll give it center. So let's take a look at the app. So right now this is the app. So the next step, we're going to add the food name. To add the food name, we'll add a text component, and we're going to add the food name from the item object. This item.name. And right now we have the food name, so we are going to style it right now. So we'll give it a style. We'll give the font size of 20 pixels, font size 25 pixels, a font weight of bold. Then we are going to give it a color of white. So say colors, I'll give it colors.white. So that's all for the name. So the next step, we're going to add the icon. So to add the icon, we'll add the view. Then inside the view, we are going to add the favorite icon. So right here, we are going to add a view. So add a view, and we are going to give the view a style of icon container. So style dot icon container. Then right now, we're going to add the style. So for this style, we'll give the background color of white. Colors dot white. We'll give the height of 50 pixels, a width of 50 pixels, also a justified content of center, align items of center also, so we want to be able to center the icon, and we'll give the border radius of 30. So this is going to give it the round shape. So let's take a look at the app. So right now we have the view for the icon. So the next step, we are going to add the icon to the view. So inside the view, we'll add the icon component. We'll say icon. We'll give the name of favorite dash border. So we'll say name favorite dash border. We'll give the color of primary. So say colors dot primary, and we are going to give it a size of 25 pixels. And that's all for the icon. So right now we are going to add the text, that is the details of the food, to the app. So below the view, we are going to add the text component, and I'm just going to copy the text and paste it over here. So right now I'm going to add a style to the text. We'll give it a style of details text. So say style dot details text. And right now I'm going to add the style. So add the style over here. We'll give the margin top of 10 pixels. So say margin top 10 pixels. We're going to give it a line height of 22 pixels. So the line height 22 pixels. A font size of 16 pixels. Font size 16 pixels, and a color of white. So say colors dot white. And that's all for the text. So right now we're going to add the button. So right here below the text, we're going to add a view for the button. So add a view, and I'm going to style the view. So we'll give it a margin top of 40 pixels. Then a margin bottom of 40 pixels also. So for this button, it's going to be a secondary button. So right now we have to create a secondary button component. So inside the button.js over here, I'm just going to get this primary button. Then I'm going to duplicate this, and here I'll change the name to secondary button. The secondary. Then we'll export the component. I'll add it to this. I'll export it. Then inside the details screen right here, we are going to add the button. So inside this view, add the secondary button. I'll make sure we import the button. So over here, we're going to import the button. So right now we're going to add a title props to the button, which is going to be add to cart. Then for the secondary button, we are going to modify the style. So over here, we're going to add another curly braces to this. Then we'll take this style and we're going to spread it right here. So we'll spread the style. So we are going to modify the background color of the secondary button. So say colors dot white. It's going to be a white color, and we'll do the same for the title. So I'll add a curly braces, and I'll take this title style. I'll spread it, so I'll be able to add another style to it. While for it, we'll just change the color to colors dot primary. Yeah, and that's all for the button. So let's take a look at the UI. So this is the UI right here. So the last screen we are going to work on right now is the card screen over here. Then bring up the project and the emulator. Then I'm going to navigate back to the home screen. Then I'm going to close this details screen. Then I'll click on this card icon. It's going to take us to the card screen. And right now, we'll start working on the card screen. For the card screen, we are going to start the save area view. So we'll give the background color of white. So colors dot white, and we'll give it a flex of 1. So inside the view, we are going to add a header view. this header view is going to hold this back arrow button and also this title. So right here we are going to create the view for the header. So add a view and we're going to give it a style of header. So say style, we'll give it a style dot header, which we are going to create right now. So right here we're going to create a style. So say const style sheet dot create. I'm going to add the header style. For the header style, we give the padding vertical of 20 pixels. So say padding vertical, we give 20 pixels. We give it a flex direction of row, align items of center, and a margin horizontal of 20 pixels also. So that's all for the header. So right now we are going to add the items inside the header. So inside the header, we are going to add the icon. So right here we add the icon. Then we are going to give it a name of arrow back dash iOS. So say name arrow dash back dash iOS. Then we'll give it a font size of 28 pixels. This size. And that's all for the icon right here. So the next step, we're going to add the text for the title. So over here, we add the text of cat and we are going to style the text. Before we style the text, let's import the text component. So import the text component. We'll give the font size of 20 pixels, a font width of bold, font weight, and that's all for the text. So let's take a look at the UI. So right now, we're going to add this list of card over here. So to do that, we are going to create a component called cat card. So over here, we'll create a component called cat card for the card. So say cat card, and we are going to return a view. So right now, we're going to add a flat list component in order to list the card. So right here, we add a flat list component, say flat list, and we're going to get rid of the scroll bar. So say show and vertical indicator, and set it to false. Then we are going to style the flat list itself. So say content container style. We'll give it a padding bottom of 80 pixels, and that's all for this style. So right now we're going to add data. So since we don't have that data for the card, we are going to make use of the food list. So right here we add the data props and passing the foods. Then we are going to add the render item. We'll bring in the item and we are going to set it to the card, and also add the props of item over here and give it the item. So right now we're going to start working on the card. For the card, we have an image over here, the food name, the ingredient, price, the quantity, and these buttons over here. So inside the view over here, we add a style of cat card. So say style cat card. And right now I'm going to add the style. So over here we'll add a style. And for this style, we're going to give it a height of 100 pixels. Height of 100 pixels. We'll give it an elevation of 15. Give it a border radius of 10. So say border radius 10. A background color of white. So say colors.white. So this is the card over here. The next step, we're going to give it a margin vertical of 10 pixels. A margin horizontal of 20 pixels. We'll give it a padding horizontal of 10 pixels. A flex direction of row, and align items of center. And that's all for this style over here. So right now we'll start adding the elements inside the card. So right here we'll add the image, component, we'll give it a source. So let's bring in the item. So we'll pass in the item props. So say item. Then over here we'll get the source from the item object. And we'll get the image. So this is the image right now. So we are going to style the image component. We'll give it a style. We'll give it a height of 80 pixels and a width of 80 pixels. And that's all for the image component. So the next step, we're going to add the item name, the ingredient, and the price. So the item name, ingredient, price are going to be in a view. So over here, I'm going to add a view. And we are going to style this view. So give this view a height of 100 pixels. So say height 100 pixels. We give the margin left of 10 pixels, a padding vertical of 20 pixels, and a flex of 1. So right now we're going to add the text to it. So the first text we are going to add is the item name. So over here we'll add the text component, and inside here we'll get the item name from the item. So item.name. So right now we have the item name. So I'm going to style the text. So add a style with a font weight of bold. So say font weight, give it bold. Then we are going to give it a font size of 16 pixels, and that's all for the item name. So the next step, we are going to add the ingredient. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'll change this to ingredient. Then we are going to style the ingredient. So I'm going to get rid of this font weight. I'll give it a font size of 13 pixels and a color of gray. So say colors dot gray, and that's all for the ingredients. So right now I'm going to add a price. So I'm going to duplicate this also. Then for this, we'll change this to price, and we'll change this to 17 pixels, and we are going to give it a font weight of bold. So say font weight, give it bold, and we are going to add the $sign to it. So add the $sign right here. So that's all for the name, the ingredient, and the price. Right now we are going to add this button over here. So to add the button, we are going to add a view. So the view is going to hold the quantity, and below the quantity is going to hold the button. So over here we are going to add the view, and we are going to style the view. So give it a style. We'll give it a margin right of 20 pixels. So say margin right 20 pixels. We give it align items of center, and that's all for the style. So right now I'm going to add the quantity. So add a text component, and I'm just going to give it 3. Then we are going to style a text component. So for the style, we'll give the font weight of bold. We'll give it a font size of 18 pixels, and below it we are going to add the button right here. So for the button, we are going to add a view. Then inside the view, we are going to add the icons. So these icons over here. So over here, I'm going to add the view. We are going to give this view a style of action btn. So say style, we'll give it action btn. And right now I'm going to create the style. So for the action btn, we'll give it a width of 80 pixels, a height of 30 pixels, a background color of primary. So it's a background color. You get it from the colors object dot primary. So right now we have the button over here. The next step, I'm going to give it a border radius of 30 pixels. Then we'll give it a padding horizontal of 5 pixels. Just a padding horizontal. Give it 5 pixels. We'll give it a flex direction of row. Justify content of center, and align items of center. So that's all for the action button. Right now we are going to add the icon to it. So inside the action btn view over here, we are just going to add the icon. So as the first icon, we give it a name of remove, a size of 25 pixels, a size of 25. Then we are going to give it a color of white. So say colors dot white. To duplicate this icon, and I'll change this to add for the add icon. I hit save and see. So right now we have the button. So the next step, we're going to add this text of total price and also the total price over here. So to do that, inside the flat list component, we're going to add the list footer component and props. So over here we add the list footer component, which is going to be a view. Then inside the view, we'll add another view. So we are going to style this view. We give it a style. We give it a flex direction of row, a justify content or space between. Then we give it a margin vertical of 15 pixels. So say margin vertical 15 pixels. And inside this view right here, we are going to add the text. That is the total price text. So I'm going to add a text component and give it a text of total price. Then right now I'm going to style the text. So this is the text over here. So we'll give it a style, a font size of 18 pixels, then a font weight of bold. Then I'm going to duplicate this and I'll change the other text to $50. So I'll duplicate this and I'll change this to $50. That is for the total price. So right now we have the text. So the next step, I'm going to add a style to the list footer. So over here we add the list footer style. We'll give it a padding horizontal of 20 pixels. So right now we have the padding over here, and we'll give it a margin top of 20 pixels. So we have the margin. So the next step, we're going to add the checkout button. So below this view that is holding the total price and the price, we are going to add a view, and we are going to style this view. So we'll give it a margin horizontal of 30 pixels. And right now we're going to add the button. So make use of the primary button. We're going to give it a title of checkout. Just a checkout. And right now we have the button. So I think that's all for the cart. Let me see. So actually we forgot to add the navigation go back in this icon. So over here I'm going to add the props. So inside here I'm going to add unpressed. So I'm going to bring in the navigation, then we'll add the navigation and say go back, and this is going to take us back to the previous screen, the previous tab rather. So we have the onboard screen. If I click on it, it's going to take us to the home screen, and once I click on any card, it's going to take us to the details screen, which is this screen over here. This icon is going to take us to the home screen, and over here if I click on this cart icon, it's going to take us to the cart tab. So I think that'll be all for the video. If you find the video helpful, please like and share, and also if not subscribed, please consider subscribing, turn on post notifications so that you notify time I upload a new video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.